would be a 3, which would be, how do I try new things in life?
Look at you trying to be professional and stuff. Nice try, bud.
Thanks, I learned it from
And
you, Mom.
it the idea is as creators, right? I wanted to talk to you guys about when we've tried something and it just didn't work, it failed. I was kind of thinking of your joke at Dragon Con where you're talking about the aborted baby's engine, Phil. And but you tried, and it wasn't the worst.
It
But
worked
then there's
50%.
yeah, and then there's things you tried, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's not going to end well," and it goes amazingly, and that can apply to any walk of life. But how do you push yourself out there and try something risky that's new?
For me, it's less of an issue. I realize it's kind of a cop out. For me, the issue is not trying the new things; it's sticking with the new things long enough to know if the new thing worked or not. um, but what I will say is, I got married way young, and then got divorced, and kind of. It wasn't until I went through all that I kind of realized that I was waiting to do a lot of things until someone else would agree to do it with me. And like I would want to go to a concert, and if I couldn't get someone to go, I wouldn't go to the concert, and or just anything like that. And so for me, like kind of the eye-opening moment was like I was, I don't know, 24, 25, and there was just this one little concert I wanted to go to, and I was like, you know what? No one wanted to go, no one cared. I was like, I am going, and I want to see this so bad. I'm just going to go. And that was kind of the moment that I was like, you don't have to try things as a group. You can try new things by yourself. It'll be okay. And I took that really close to heart. And then the very next thing that came up was my fat self started doing medieval combat reenacting.
Wow. Metal armor and all?
No. Oh God, no. I had no money. But it was it was like the foam style. It was an organization called Belagarth. And I actually got some of my friends. We were doing it. We were having a great time. We would go out and whack each other with foam swords, and they had like their annual like big event was coming up, and all my friends backed out on me. It's like, you know what? No, this is the new Bob. I'm going to go do the thing, even though none of my friends are going to be there. And it was in the top 3 most miserable weekends of my life. It was awful. But other than that time, it's typically worked out pretty well for me.
No, I hear you, man. Phil.
For me, to look at the actual question that it is like, how do I try new things? Is getting comfortable with failure, right? Because everything that you're going to do for the first time, you're going to be terrible at. The second time you do it, you're still going to be terrible. So like getting used to the feeling of failure has really helped me kind of push my limits, especially on new things, and push my limits through multiple things, right? Bob, the first story you wrote was probably garbage. Charles, the first kid you probably had was garbage. And my first marriage was garbage. So like, you got to be okay with failing, but you also have to figure out why you failed at that and where you can make an adjustment and change so you don't continue to make the same mistakes that you did, right? I mean, my first podcast, it's funny to listen to it now, it's almost cringeworthy. And I feel like everybody has that opinion about the first thing of whatever they've created. And so it's about pushing through those boundaries, right? A lot of stand-ups will fail, 90% of the time before they finally find their groove, find their voice. So for me, trying new things is about not only dealing with, we're going to be bad at this for a while, but it's up to us to continue to do it, right? Which leads to my second thing. Are you having fun doing it? Yeah. Because if you're failing and you're not having fun, and now look, it doesn't have to be fun 100% of the time, but you have to at least have that spark to find joy in what you're doing or creating, and finding that bit, right? Charles, you were talking about jokes that I had at Dragon Con from 10 years ago that failed.
But you tried. I
But
thought
I
it was
tried it,
funny.
right? It
Yeah.
hit 50% of the room,
Yeah.
but also, like, I had fun making that joke in a very awkward situation, right? And creating new things and pushing new boundaries. Everything you're gonna make is not gonna hit 100% of the people, right? But you'll find your people. Your people will find you. So it's all about
Yeah.
kind of keeping that the scales balanced of dealing with things not hitting immediately, but still having fun with doing it, and finding that happy medium so the scales don't tip one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, Bob.
No, I mean, I agree absolutely. Um, if you know, if I had to be a success at all the podcasts I do, uh, uh, by any metric, I have utterly failed just about. But I enjoy making them, like, and so I have the amount of fun I have vastly outweighs, my lack of success as a podcaster. I do it because I love it, and that's why it's one of the few things I've stuck with for year after year after year after year. Um, Writing's kind of the same way. Um, I mean, I think a lot of folks would argue my books, what I write now, still sucks. um, but I love doing it. It would kill me to not do it. I enjoy it, so I'm going to keep doing it. And yeah, there have been projects in the past that, like, I've had to be like, you know what, I'm not enjoying this at all. Like, this is just like pulling teeth. And even if it does okay, it's like I can't see myself doing this for 4, 5, 6 rest of my life. I'd just be miserable. So I need to take that energy and sink
Yeah.
it into something that I can see myself going the distance on.
But Bob, that's a great point on knowing when to say we're done, right? There's been multiple shows where I've hit that wall, and I'm like, I can't push through. I can't fake this anymore. I've got to step away from it, because not that I don't enjoy the company that I'm doing it with, but, like, we've run our course and I'm not having fun. And now it feels like it's a burden. And now it feels like a job. And now I'm not giving 110% like I normally do. And knowing when to pull yourself back, knowing when to say no, or, knowing when you're starting a new activity and you're just like, this, you know what? Put it on the belt. We did it. We tried it. We had fun for a little bit, but it's just not hitting the same way, and just stepping away from it is super important.
Yeah. The biggest project I ever, like, sunk like a lot of time in that just, I mean, failed so miserably and part of it was like, I didn't really pick the best time politically to get into this, but I had this idea of, I love
Making
music.
America great again.
Right. No, I love music. Like, my master's is in music industry. Like, I love music. And I had this thought of, like, I I started a project where I wrote a letter to pretty much every senator asking them, what's your favorite song and who is someone from the other party that you would consider a friend? And just to have this Instagram, I'd post, in theory, I would have posted responses. Um, but I wrote all these letters, and not only did fundamentally, no one in the world cared what I was doing, but I had one senator respond, and it was one of Alabama's senators. I didn't even get both senators from Alabama to respond. I got one, and he picked "Sweet Home Alabama" as his favorite song. I was like, you know what, we're done here.
Yeah.
It's a great concept, though, right? Because it's political, but being apolitical at the same time.
Yeah.
I think it's a great concept, and I'm going to write it down to take it. So.
Please. Yeah. It's one of those, I think 10 years ago, it probably would have worked when things were slightly less polarized. I think it would have maybe caught on fractionally better. But and that's the other thing. It wasn't very fun to do.
But I would say the fun part was you actually tried something instead of holding yourself back, and you don't regret not trying it, right? 'Cause you
Yeah,
tried it.
it would have been a lot more fun if I got responses, but
Sure.
but writing
Sure.
letters that no one even can send you a form letter for.
Well, Bob, you
that was
wrote them
bad.
out with magazine clippings of different letter sizes. Man, what did you want them to do?
Right.
You threw in old Doonesbury cartoons that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
I was
So
going ransom note, but yeah, sure.
I know. I know what you're saying. Lost Limey says, yeah, as an amateur writer, I've written hundreds of chapter 1s and about 12 chapter 2s. And he goes on to say, in the last 3 years, I've had the philosophy that life's too short to be embarrassed by going or doing something by yourself. And Surgeon's Law, 90% of everything will be crap. And then, because he has to put the music out there, to quote the great sage, Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
But I mean, it's all about taking risks as well, right? Because it's either going to work or it's not. I have a character that I will be playing at DragonCon this year that is going to hit maybe 50% and lose 50%. I've shopped it with a lot of people that I trust, and I'm still going to go through with it, even though I know it is going to be rough. I'll just say that. But if it works out and I push through, it's gonna hit really well. But I also don't care about the people that doesn't hit. Like, I've had people walk out of our panels before, right? Because our comedy wasn't their cup of tea, because it just wasn't their cup of tea. We'll leave it at that, right? So it's a risk reward kind of thing sometimes, especially, when you've hit past the new thing and you started mastering and becoming, shaping what you do. That can get stale and boring, right? So you got to keep pushing yourself to newer heights and seeing what works and what doesn't. So it's going to be interesting. I'll just tell you that much.
There was someone on the DragonCon subreddit. They posted saying, like, "Hey, I've got this idea for cosplay. Do you think it's too niche? Like, will people get it?" And so many of the comments in there were, my favorite cosplays are the ones that only like 3 people get, but those 3 people are obsessed. Yeah, I get it.
Never too niche, because dude, I still talk about it 8 years later. Like, you never know what you're going to see, especially like you're saying, Bob, the nicher, the better. Like, I saw the Brave Little Toaster group cosplay at DragonCon. You could have, I could have given you 10,000 guesses on what I would see, and Brave Little Toaster group cosplay wouldn't even hit the top 100,000.
Yeah.
So
there's been amazing ones.
Which I would let the toaster. I would consider letting the toaster and Blanky be babysitter.
Okay. Except till bath time. You want Blanky to handle bath time. So,
you said Jared from Subway, Charles.
I did not. You said that. So, I was doing a game show with a partner. I'd like being creative with other people. It's a little bit of a safety net, right? Because you can bounce it off somebody who you trust, and they go, yeah, that didn't work, but here, try this. That's helpful. And that game show kind of went away, and I really enjoyed doing it. And just like another pivotal moment, my life's like, I need to see if I can do this by myself. And I started shopping ideas. I got with Phil, and we came up with a couple of different concepts, and I started roughing it out. And then I started trying to get the smaller cons, and it's called Fandom Face Off. And for the first year, which is 3 or 4 cons, I would always text Phil, man, this is going to be the one. And nobody's going to show up. Nobody knows what this thing is. Nobody's going to show up. And then people do, and I have a good time. And I text him after, oh, man, it's a great time. We had this many players, whatever. And even to this year, like, I know people are going to show up, but that's still that voice going, nobody's going to show up. Nobody's going to care.
No, but that's fine, right? Do you know how many open mics I've played by myself to nobody, right? It's a reason that comedians don't film their specials at the Comedy Store, right? They film them at the bigger venues, because you use those smaller venues and those smaller rooms to hone your craft.
Yeah.
right? I mean, there's been countless times where big name, A-name celebrities show up to the Comedy Cellar in New York to test out new material to see how it's going to go. You know, well, the one thing I want people to realize is that it's okay to have nobody or small amount of people consuming whatever
Yeah.
you're doing,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's where you're gonna they'll probably be the loudest in your community, right? And they're the ones that are going to help you keep your repetition so that you can, like I said, hone whatever craft you're doing. If it's music, if it's writing, if it's tap dancing, it doesn't matter. And then when it finally does break through, you're going to have these OGs that have been helping and talking to you through the beginning, man. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
even Hendrix got booed off stage when he opened for the Monkees. Like, think about that. He was the opening act for the Monkees, and it just he got booed off stage. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I did a panel once to 3 people, and I was like, oh God, I don't know. But turns out one of the 3 guys owned a brewery, and he came up to me after, asked me a bunch of questions, and was like, man, my brewery does events all the time. You can come set up a table anytime, no charge. And yeah,
Nice.
I took advantage of that a bunch of times. And then years later, he started a book club in Birmingham and invited me out and fed me. And I sold like $100 worth of books
That's great.
to a book club. More importantly, they fed me. That was the real thing.
Oh, that's what I was talking about. I don't care that you sold books.
Yeah.
I care that you got your food, that guy.
Yeah. So you just never know. You know, that small. I got more out of that small crowd than I've gotten out of a lot of, main programming type panels.
And the more you do it, right? Anybody can attest. Only about half my jokes land. I don't want to hear it, Phil. At least half of them land. You can make your faces all you want, but you keep trying and keep refining, even to the point of the digital media track. The first year I did it, I was terrified, and I was like, I hope this works. I hope this will work. And it went well. And then we improved. And you get the feedback, and you get the what went well, what can we change, and you always keep that open to where now, like I just had the volunteer meeting with the team, and I'm just like, what you see right now, what you hear right now, that's the level of stress. That's it. The show's the show. It'll be fine. Because the more you do something and the more you have, not just have success, but the failures you have are helped fixed or changed by the people that really believe in what you're doing or and where you're going. And I'm sure you have beta readers, Bob, for your books.
No, that would be what professionals do.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought every writer did that. I don't know.
No. You're supposed to.
Well, I promised Phil he could be your beta. So
yeah, I would be your master beta.
Yeah.
Why don't you
Anytime.
roll some dice there?
Except that I'm illiterate, my guy.
Go Birds. He spells birds BYRDS. So